United Grind Society presents The Turntable, where we discuss everything relevant to hip-hop. I'm your host, Haiku, and for today's topic, we're going to discuss award shows. Do they matter? What's hip-hop's place in them? And are they the best display of musical talent today? All that on The Turntable. All right. Hey, before we get started, going to introduce the panel to you all. So to my left, you have my man Vice.
What's up, Vice Electric, United Grind, it's good.
All right, and then to his left, we have my other boy Speed.
What's up, y'all? Speed, Rhyme Royal, Individual.
All right, and then to my right, and Mr. Jenks.
Jinx in the building, as usual. United Grind.
All right. So, I mean, let's talk about it, right? Award shows. That's the topic. You know, how important are they? Hip hop's place in award shows. But I think we probably should start the conversation off with, do you watch them?
I'll never let a statue tell me how nice I am.
You've been waiting all day to say
It's a good way to start the conversation. Good way to start the conversation. No, what about you? You watch them?
I watch award shows. Award shows to me, like when they come on, it's almost like the Super Bowl or a championship game. Like you gotta tune in at some point just to see what's going on. Even the Grammys. Now I don't watch it from beginning to end ever, but I usually tune in to see what's up.
Okay. What about you, Speed?
I'm a channel flipper. So if award shows are on, I'm usually curious. I'm curious enough to watch some of it. So I watch some of like pretty much all award shows, but I wouldn't consider myself, because I don't know most of the people who are getting awards on these shows no more. So I'm not interested in that way, but I'm curious. So yeah, I call myself a award show watcher.
Okay. And you?
I don't fuck with
So, very succinct. I love that. Succinct answer. So, with me, I watch them a little bit differently now than I used to back in the day. You know, now it's more or less trying to find out who's who in the industry, find out what's hot. Like, you know, as far as like what movie should I be watching? Did I miss that I haven't watched? Like, everybody's buzzing about this movie. Okay, I need to check that out, right? And that's kind of like, you know. But as far as music is concerned, I'm looking at performances. But typically, what I'll do is I'll wait till the day after, and I'll find out what everybody's buzzing about. Like, this performance was good, then I'll go and catch it on YouTube or something like that instead of having to check
Yeah, I think
it out.
when we were younger, I think the award shows was like, you watch award shows like hoping somebody that you like won award. Now I don't even know if I'm watching award shows and seeing people winning awards. Like, do people even actually win awards at award shows anymore?
They give out awards, man. I mean, I think the biggest thing about award shows that I think is dope. The performances are off the hook, and I think that you have a lot of real good collaborations and a lot of things that happen on stage that you wouldn't normally see. I think that's the main reason why I'll tune into an award show. You see Kendrick Lamar rocking with like, you know, Stevie Wonder or something like that. You're not gonna see that anywhere. Right. You're not even gonna see that if they go on tour. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I think that really, those are like the greatest moments that you remember of past award shows, or like the great performances that people put on. So I don't think anybody can take away from that.
I mean, for me, the shit is so lackluster in terms of, like, nigga, the cool factor is just too high for me. When it comes to award performances and shit, you got the fucking performer being too cool, you got the audience being too goddamn cool. Like, when it comes to hip hop, and I witness a show from any perspective, like, I want to see a show, and I want to see motherfuckers like giving the show to the crowd, and I want to see the crowd feeding back into it, just like I was there for real. And when you got the award shows, everybody who gives a fuck is in the fucking bleachers in the back. And everybody in the front is too motherfucking cool for me.
So really being entertained.
So I agree with you to a certain extent, right? I agree with you to a certain extent. I think there have been some performances that I've watched that have like really turned it up, you know. But I think the number
spectacle wise,
yeah. Well,
they put a lot of money into the show as far as, you know, pyrotechnics and shit, and motherfuckers hanging from wires and shit. Like, yeah, that shit's cool, but.
Well, so here's my thing. I think that it's almost an overproduced show. At times, there are some performances I'm like they put too much into it. That performer is not necessarily the most comfortable in this setting because they do put combinations together that don't happen every day, right? So at times, and also we've all been performing, right? So like your first song right out the gate is going to be okay. It's going to be like a little heat check, and then the last song is like your hit. That's your haymaker in general. I think that when you at award shows, I think especially with performances, you got to hit the sprint like right away. That's like your 40-yard dash. And I think sometimes, even though they're professional, I think sometimes it's hard depending on what the last one was, who the last performance was, and what have you. But there have been some performances I think that really stand out. I mean, not necessarily nothing I can think of right now. Kendrick Lamar, you mentioned him. I want to say he rocked with Imagine Dragons a couple years back, and I think that was like to me that was a really good performance.
All right, here come a hot take then, because going off of what you said. All right, so I think there's a reason why what you said overproduced performances. I think it's so little different versions of swagger out there now. So when you talk about hip hop and award shows, I think you got dudes going out there and everybody's mimicking the same thing visually, as far as like presence. You know what I'm saying? There's a swagger that's happening in these performances right now, and everybody has the same swagger. Therefore, the production value of the show has to be on a whole different level, because otherwise you're sitting there looking at some mini version of Lil Wayne for 5 minutes.
Motherfuckers don't even be as entertaining as Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is actually a performer. And a lot of motherfuckers is, walk here type of cool shit. And the thing about hip hop, and like when you start talking about the show aspect of hip hop, like there are certain people that aren't super energetic and that don't do a lot of animated shit on stage. But the thing I think where the value of the show lies in hip hop is the connection to the audience. So even if you're not like a Busta Rhymes when you perform, you know what I'm saying? For me, the value of the show is in the connection with the audience and the back and forth with the audience. That doesn't happen in award shows. So if you're not that type of performer, you're either like putting, thousands into the set and the production to make it entertaining and dancers and shit like that, or you just being too fucking cool.
Well, he just said one.
It's funny. It's like we're not talking at all about the actual awards. Like it's funny because we're talking about the performances, and it goes to the point I was gonna make is that like really, these award shows there is really no stock. I think one of our points were, does it mean anything? Is it a reflection or display of talent? As far as the awards and who wins the awards, that is completely obsolete at this point. That's completely political. As far as that aspect of the award show. The way I look at the award shows, it's just like the musical version of the All-Star Game. Like you see the All-Star Game comes every year, you get to see everybody together. It's special, stuff you only see once a year but means absolutely nothing. That's what the award shows are. And I think that people put too much stock into them, and they actually act like instead of it being an all-star game, it's like they try to compare it to a championship. Like you're not winning a championship because you won a Grammy. Right. That you know what I'm saying? You won a Grammy because
you think it was ever that way though? I mean, do you think
I think that it was that way before, but I mean,
Michael Jackson and what's his name? Lionel Richie walking away with for the award.
I think it was a little bit different.
What the fuck does that mean for hip hop? Because even today, with hip hop being the motherfucking highest selling genre, when you go to award show, you don't see a bunch of fucking hip hop. Like when you go to a general award show, the Grammys, the focus don't even be on the hip hop artists, and it's the top fucking genre.
So
I don't agree with that because
you might be right because
a lot of exactly. So since I watch it, I'll talk about like a lot of times these award shows are opened up by an urban act. I mean, if it isn't like a Beyonce, who isn't necessarily hip hop, but like whoever's the highest, whoever's the most popular urban act is definitely getting a performance at the Grammys, and a performance at the Grammys is huge.
A performance.
Yeah.
But also there are rows of people in the audience that aren't necessarily hip hop, that don't have shit to do with it. I'm not saying that they don't cover hip hop at all. I'm saying the focus is not set on the most popular and important genre or pop or whatever in the game right now. It still has a lot to do with the Ariana Grandes and all these other motherfuckers.
It's pop music.
Exactly. But I'm saying when it comes to hip hop, is it truly an all-star cast of hip hop artists, even though hip hop is the highest selling genre out right now? That's all I'm saying.
I think I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, and like with movie and television award shows, them people get their awards, and that still absolutely means something because you make your money off of that award. Now you're Oscar nominated Jinx.
But when you say it means something, who does it mean something to? Because I'll argue that somebody that wins a Grammy, it still means something for them, and their ticket's gonna go up. But if we're talking about if it's really a reflection of who's the dopest, the best hip hop artist, I don't think that that's the case.
So let's talk about that because that's what it comes down to. When we're talking about this, when we're talking about award shows and do they still matter, we talking about from the perspective of the hip hop head, of the hip hop consumer. So when it comes down to it,
I don't think they matter. My reason why I don't think they matter so much is because we don't have, hip hop has grown over the years, and we have way too many subcategories of hip hop that should be included in an award show, because you can't look at all hip hop being the same. You know, you calling it hip hop because it just got a rap beat to it, but it's not necessarily, shouldn't be compared with this artist over here. So for that reason alone, I think the way the hip hop is represented in award shows is
we can look at the hip hop. We can look at the hip hop awards, and the hip hop awards don't even cover the basis of the whole like diaspora of hip hop, like within itself. So when you talk about like a Oscar, a Grammy, or a show like that, they don't even touch the surface of what it, of hip hop and all of the different factions of it. And so when you're watching it, I mean, you're not really getting anything from it as a hip hop listener or consumer.
The award categories, and it's like the same 5 people in all of the hip hop related award
in all
categories.
of the categories.
And usually it's a Rihanna or some shit mixed in there. Yeah. DJ Khaled, Rihanna, and the rapper guy.
Right. So that's the rap.
Bruno Mars and the rapper chick.
I think it's the same. I think it's the same argument and the same split that always comes up where you're talking about like hip hop and you're talking about industry. You know, when you're talking about hip hop industry, I think that it is a reflection. You know. So people were tripping because Cardi B won the best like rap album.
Sure.
From an industry standpoint, how can you argue with that? She dominated last year, and her fan base is ridiculous, and her hits are all over the charts. Like, how can you argue with that? Yeah, okay, you can argue with it because you can say Cardi B's trash. I think Cardi B can't rap. I don't think Cardi B's as dope as Rhapsody. I don't think Cardi B's as dope as this guy or that guy. It's always going to be that split. So what are we talking about? We're talking about industry, which is what the Grammys is about. It takes into account album sales. It takes into account pop influence, all of that type of stuff. So when you talk about hip hop, you can't just stop at, what's dope, or even like when you talk about the different subgenres. It's like, who do more people know?
Well, that is kind of like the basket that the hip hop industry is kind of like put its chips in, and it's kind of like the standard maker for hip hop. But I think it's also hip hop doing itself a disservice by making that the ultimate. You know what I'm saying?
But is hip hop
benchmark?
Is hip hop making that the benchmark, or is that the
hip hop? Is hip hop? No, it's both. It's both. Because even from an artist perspective, they look at that as the ultimate, you know what I'm saying, as the ultimate achievement, as the ultimate goal, and it's no longer about the culture. It's about what these people think. You know what I'm saying? So it is partly the industry. It has a lot to do with it, but we also have our own power. You know what I'm saying? And we're putting our energy towards that. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why I always thought it was whack for like Jay to show up to the Grammys and not the BET Hip Hop Awards. Like, that shit was whack to me. You know what I'm saying? I said it. That shit's whack. How you not showing up to the Hip Hop Awards now? Not to say that the Hip Hop Awards themselves are the most culturally, you know what I'm saying, in tune,
Sure.
and you know what I'm saying, like the people that make that up, but it is still crafted. It's still geared towards the culture. So why aren't we championing those shows as much as we are the Grammys? And like you said, it's probably a lot to do with the industry, but that's also our thoughts and you know what I'm saying, and our thinking behind it.
It's also a whole other underbelly of situations that like, man, people get paid to sit in those front seats and be on camera. Like, it's not even about, oh, Jay's like, oh, let's go to the Grammy. Jay doesn't need any of that shit. I guarantee, now I don't know this for a fact, but I guarantee that there is more into them attending this, that, or the other than the fact that they just want to be there. I guarantee that there's money involved.
The Michael Jackson fact, like Michael Jackson's like one of the first entertainers to like not be at certain places that weren't, you know what I'm saying, like some like exclusive upper echelon shit. He's the first person that I remember being like winning awards and somebody had to come accept the shit for his ass because he ain't there because he too cool for that shit. Like I think it's that. I think it's just the aspect of, okay, I'm superseding hip hop now. I'm beyond it. You know what I'm saying? So when you get my award, my sister's gonna pick that shit up at the Hip Hop Awards and shit. And I, you know what I'm saying? And that's it.
And when you look at it's so funny because when you look at the BET Hip Hop Award show, that show sort of is like a gift and a curse because it's sort of a curse because it doesn't represent hip hop completely. You don't see any of the biggest hip hop acts there ever. It's almost become, and I know y'all sick of all these comparisons, but this is just the way that I think. I look at the BET Hip Hop Awards like the dunk contest. Let me tell you why. Because you have the cipher, right? You have the cipher that everybody, and my dude mentioned that, every single year you look forward to the cipher like you. And not only that, but it's gotten to the point where the BET Hip Hop Awards only really put shine on the new up and coming artists. That's like all they really show on there. And they give them an opportunity to perform too. If you ever watch it. Like the newest, hottest artists, like Little So-and-so and Baby So-and-so, those are the ones that perform. They would never get a chance on any other platform, dude. And that's what they've turned it into. Also with the cyphers, just breaking artists. I think that it's dope, but my whole thing is, like, present it as such.
I think it should be just an event in the night. It shouldn't be the entire night. I totally agree with what you're saying. So the dunk contest is dope, but that's just one event in the night. They have the skills, they have the three-point shoot. You have all of that, right? So to me, you know, as far as the young ones coming up, I think there should just be an event in the night, not the entire. You shouldn't be, the whole night shouldn't be highlighting just that.
But that's basically.
But see, I agree.
But see, that's the thing though. Unless you go to one of the award shows, it's a lot of shit that don't get taped. It's a lot of shit that, you know what I'm saying?
Well, a lot of stuff get taped that don't get.
And then don't get shown.
Right, right. You know what I'm saying? So that within
we said
itself.
tape, you just showed your age.
So you're saying we gotta go? What'd you say?
You just show your age.
tape.
Roll it.
Tape, right? I am going to, now that we're having this conversation, I know that I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to the award show the next time. And, you know, I think the next award season, I'm going to try to make it my point to watch every single award show, right? And just like look at it from a different perspective. Because I know, you know, it's different. You know, it's different as you get a little bit older, looking at shows a little bit differently now, whatever, especially when, you know, as it's referenced from a hip hop perspective, definitely. You know, I'm definitely gonna look at it different. I haven't watched the BET show.
I feel that, and then when you do that, you can just let me know. Because I'm gonna still not be watching that shit.
You might miss the realest award show ever. You might miss the realest one ever. You gonna take that? You gonna take that risk?
YouTube.
Okay. All right. So hey, we're gonna wrap this up. Hey, if you got an opinion about award shows, let us know. We want to know what you guys think. What's the realest one out there? Does hip hop really represented well in the award shows? So hit us up on social. Y'all know what to do. Peace.
All right. You could have missed Michael Jackson doing
The moonwalk.